Ezekiel Elliott has been criticized all week for his lack of effort against the Broncos on Sunday. Jason Garrett said Zeke's play wasn't up to the Cowboys' standard, but Jerry Jones defended his running back. Dak and Zeke addressed the issue yesterday. Let's take a listen.
I would say I was just very frustrated, but that's no excuse for the lack of effort I showed on tape, and I just can't do that. You know, being one of the leaders of this team and, you know, being a guy that people count on, I can't put that type of stuff on film. It's definitely not me. It's definitely not the type of player I am. It's definitely not who I am for this team, and, you know, I just can't do that. I was frustrated, and, you know, I wasn't myself.
First, I really listened to outside criticism. For me, I know who he is. I know the type of football player he is. I know the type of guy he is, and I've never and never will question his competitiveness or his lack of effort or whatever you want to say. I'll never question that. I know he's going to be there for me, for this teammate, for his teammates, his organization. So I mean, I don't pay attention to what other people say.
Shannon, do you like what Zeke said?
I think both players are in the right here. I think both players played it textbook. I think Zeke had to come out and say what he said, that this was not the Zeke Elliott that I know. I wasn't there. I didn't show the effort that I need to put on tape. Because the thing is that we love about camera, Skip. It doesn't care how much money you make. It doesn't care if you black or white. All it shows, it captures what it captures. Because I've been in too many meetings, and the coach will stop the tape and say, son, how fast did you run the 40? 4.4, coach, I ran 4.4. You tell me right now you're running 4.4. There's no way around that. You don't like that Jason Garrett called it out. I think that you don't have a problem that Jason Garrett said, Zeke, you didn't hustle. I think you have more of a problem that he's saying this in public. You think he could have been better served happening behind closed doors. I disagree with that. But the camera does not lie. And Zeke knows that effort. You can't ask a man more than you're willing to give. You can't ask the offensive lineman to pick it up. You can't ask other players to pick it up when they saw you shut it down. Now, Dak Prescott, he's presidential. Proud of 45. He's buttoned up. He says all the right things. He gets it. He knows he's supposed to have his running backs back. I'm never going to question Ezekiel Elliott's effort. I'm never going to question his desire, his competitiveness. Mm-hmm. He knows that I know, that's what Dak said, I know that he'll be there for us. So I'm not here to question that. Bad, it happened. We're ready to move on. I think both of these guys handled it like a pro. I wish Zeke would have said this early. I wish he'd have said it Wednesday instead of Thursday. Or he could have said it after the game. Because I'm sure, I don't know if they brought it up. Maybe it was once we saw it on camera, we started talking about it Monday and Tuesday. But I'm glad he got it out there. This is not the effort that I want on tape. Because remember, Skip, no matter what you do, practice, preseason, or game, you're being evaluated. And he said it. You don't want that on tape. So kudos to Zeke for saying what he said. Hopefully he meant it. Dak, he gets it. Button up, said all the right things. That's why he's going to be a great leader for the Cowboys.
So now you feel validated in your stance.
No, I don't seek validation. That's what I don't do that, Skip. I had the cameras on my side. It doesn't lie. Who am I supposed to believe? Was I supposed to believe Jerry Jones and Skip Bayless or my truth-telling eyes? I see better than I hear.
Cowboy hating.
No, ain't no hate. Ain't no hate in my heart, Skip. I got it out.
I'm serious about this. This whole thing just makes me ill because in the end, Ezekiel Elliott got shamed into saying what he said yesterday, shamed by his head coach, who took him to the public woodshed, not the private one, but to the public one, at a moment the whole world was waiting to pounce upon Ezekiel Elliott and condemn him as a quitter. As LaDainian Tomlinson had said, and Peter King, a Monday Morning Quarterback, had said Sunday night, Jason Garrett validated that. And I'm sure Jason Garrett, and this was a big departure for him, I do not remember him ever criticizing an individual player the way he criticized Ezekiel in Monday's media
When
session.
they're young like that, you got to get them young. You got to get them young. Because, hey, Skip, now, think about what they have on their hands. Here's a guy that came in highly touted, 4th pick in the draft. He led the league in rushing. He was the number 4 pick overall, 1st team All-Pro. Now, if you let this behavior escape, how do you reach him in year 4? after leading the league 2 or 3 years, and second time or third time he's first team All-Pro. How do you rein him in then?
Well, to your point, I'm sure that Jason Garrett won some points in the national media by taking on, standing up, and putting in his place Ezekiel Elliott, who just turned 22 years of age. But I don't think Jason Garrett won many points in the locker room, and I'll tell you why. I do not. If Zeke was a repeat offender here, if we'd seen a number of games in which he took plays off or mailed it in or was a repeat violator of the NFL code of hustle, then I would be right there with you. But this is a first. I had not seen this ever. I'd never heard about anything like this happening. And even as Jason Garrett said, that Urban Meyer, to quote Jason, stood up on the table when they went to talk to Urban about Zeke before the draft, stood up on the table to make the point that Ezekiel Elliott was so great without the football, meaning that on all the hustle plays, all the effort plays, all the blocking plays, all the whatever plays that didn't involve gaining 230 yards against Ain't Nick's defense in a national semifinal game, all those other little plays that other running backs mail in and take off, he gets A+. Okay? So has he been anything short of a warrior for the Dallas Cowboys in the short time he's been there? No. By all accounts, does he practice as hard as any other Cowboy? Yes. By all accounts, does he bring it as hard as any Cowboy at game time? Yes. Does he have all kinds of off-field issues? You better believe he does. But when he's on the field, when he shows up for a game, when he shows up for practice, he had been nothing but an A+. So it's really just one play that we're talking about, and it was a highly unusual play. And I get it. It's such a bad look to put your hands on your hips while the play is still in motion.
Yeah.
But how many, help me out here, Hall of Famer.
Yes.
How many downfield passing routes will Ezekiel Elliott run in a football game? Just help me out.
Well, he's not Le'Veon Bell, so not
Okay.
any.
Okay. Maybe one.
Yeah.
Maybe occasionally. You
Yeah.
know, like that. I was actually shocked to see 21 pass Des Bryant downfield running a pass route.
He was just clearing out. They were going to throw him the ball anyway.
Hey, trust me, he can catch it when.
No.
Just watch. It's going to happen. It'll
Screens,
happen.
we don't count screens
Well,
in class.
he's got at least as good a hands as Le'Veon.
Don't do
Bell
that,
has.
Skip. Don't do that.
I'm doing it because I've seen it and seen it. Some of the best catches any Cowboys made this year, including the preseason, were screen passes or swing passes that looked like they were over Zeke's head, and he one-handed one in a preseason game. I said, wow, that's beyond Le'Veon.
Don't do that.
This is a special kid. So you shamed him and you took him to the woodshed and you humbled him to the point of humiliating him, and he had no choice but to stand up and take his medicine yesterday. But I did hear one line that we didn't hear in the sound that we showed on this show. But he also, when they began to cross-examine him, the media, and he was clearly not real pleased with it, he said, I guess you could say it looked that way, meaning hands on hip, that it was a bad look. So he was like grudgingly giving into it, but only grudgingly. And the best moment I had yesterday was not watching Zeke, but listening to Michael Irvin, because he went on WFAN radio in New York and called out his teammate on NFL Network, LaDainian Tomlinson, for calling out Zeke on Sunday night.
Correct.
Because LaDainian's quote, if I have it right, I did not actually hear or see him say this, but he said he absolutely quit on his team. And I tweeted this last night to LaDainian. I just wondered, can you say that a player quit who threw a devastating block on a blitzing linebacker on what became the Cowboys' final play of the game? It was the last interception that led to 42-17, the pick six, obviously to Aqib Talib. Is that a quitter to you? Seriously, help me out here. Is that a guy who absolutely quit on his team?
And that's the thing that, Skip, that I've always tried to be cautious of, because to say someone quit, that is the ultimate. And I think,
and to Michael's point, he called it the dirtiest word you can use in the sports context.
Because if you play professional sports or you've been in that environment, you know when someone says you quit or they made you give up, that's not a good look. But I think the thing is that Jason Garrett was very cautious in saying, we're talking about 2 plays here. We're not talking about the entirety of the ball.
I wish he just said 1 play. I'd be happy with 1.
But the reason why you criticize that behavior is because you don't want to see it repeated again. You see, a repeat offender is somebody that does something over and over. See, if you don't correct the behavior before it gets too far out of hand, that's the thing. And I like to use this as an analogy. My dog's a housebroken. I can't wait till a dog gets 3 or 4 years old. He's been going in the house his whole life, then all of a sudden get mad at him when he goes in the house at the age of 4 because he's not broke. Well, if you don't get to Zeke Elliott, the number 4 pick in the draft, first team All-Pro, led the league in rushing, if you don't get to him in his first couple of years, Skip, what you gonna do in year 5 when he's a 3-time first team All-Pro, or he's led the league 3 times in rushing?
Okay, but help me out. Repeat violator here, repeat offender of the code. Do you see him not hustle ever?
Skip. The reason why they put first-time offenders in jail, they put them in jail. Then they have repeat offenders. But the first time you do something, we should correct it. We're not going to say, oh, you know, that's his first time. Zeke go be. No, I'm going to bring it to your attention because I don't want you to repeat such said behavior.
Okay. And again, context. Speaking of first time, I will bet you it's the first time in Zeke's life that he's running a downfield pass route and the interception occurred behind him. So remember, any interception chase play that he'd ever been involved in, he would always usually be somewhere around the backfield, correct?
Yes.
He would either be blitz pickup blocking, he might be in a swing route or some other kind of route, short route, right? He was past the play and he was already frustrated. So I give you this, it's a bad look to stop and put your hands on your hips.
Right.
But he had never been, like, if the play had come to him, if Chris Harris Jr. had been barreling at Zeke and he's, what?
That takes
5 yards behind the line.
That takes no effort.
It takes no, well, because you just do it automatically.
Right.
You don't really have any choice.
Exactly.
Right?
So can I ask you a question? Do you think, how many times in Zeke's career, professional, high school, junior high, pee-wee, do you think a coach has called him out?
I assume Urban took him to the woodshed, but it was behind closed doors after he called out Urban for not giving him the ball enough against Michigan State.
But you had no problem with Zeke calling out Urban publicly.
No, I did. And I told Zeke that to his face when we had him on the other show. I did. I didn't like it. I thought it was a little knock on him before the draft. It was like one of those little red flags.
Well, Jason Garrett, Red gets my pat on the back.
You love Red. Coach clap.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. Why do if you look at his players, why do they say they love Coach Belichick? He says because he coaches them all the same. He'll rip Tom Brady. Tommy, what the hell are you doing here? A high schooler can make that play. You see?
Okay, but when it's fair, when it's in context, I get it.
Travis Frederick chased him all the way down the field, and when Dak made him cut back, Travis thought he could get it, but he couldn't.
Oh, stop.
All the way down the field, 315 pounds. Just chug it.
Yeah.
I think I can get
Chugging.
it. Just
no, you know what he's thinking in the back of his mind? I got to make it look good. I got to love it.
No, don't do that, Skip. Don't do that.
You know it, and I know it.
Because he said, I know Zeke's on the ground. I know Zeke ain't hustling, so I'm going to hustle.
So here's the final bit of context here.
Okay.
And this is what really sticks in my craw. You know that I believe that Ezekiel Elliott was unfairly branded a domestic violator. That he was branded by Roger Goodell a woman beater. Unfairly because I still have not heard credible, convincing evidence. Could be wrong, but that's just me. And that's quite a brand to put on somebody. That's a taint that you can never get rid of.
But Skip, Skip.
Okay, just remember, I'm just saying the context. So you become the easiest target in sports because, remember, it's the most loved and definitely the most hated team. So when the superstar running back of the most hated team is branded by a 6-game suspension as a domestic abuser, the world is ready to pounce on him for the littlest indiscretion on or off the field. And in this case, the floodgates open because Jason Garrett opened the floodgates. Oh, his coach condemned him, right?
I promise you, no one said when they saw the video, and it's been played over and over, no one said, look at that non-hustling woman beater. Nobody said that, Skip. They're not.
I'm just saying in the big picture. Yeah, you know what? I think some people do think that. It's the context. It is.
How you leap from that and of this alleged incident to say because he wasn't hustling.
But it's a lack of character. People say, and I can't defend. He pulled the woman's top down. We saw that.
I'm saying 2 plays. that I didn't see the effort that I know he can give. I'm talking about 2 plays. I'm not trying to equate what he's done off the field. I'm not trying to say what he did before this or what he will do after this.
I'm just saying he became the easiest target in sports, and then the coach made it even easier to condemn him.
Well, we don't want to repeat offender, so what we're doing, we're going to correct that negative behavior. We're going to nip it in the bud.
You care about
Yeah, I love it. That's what you got to hold people accountable, Skip. I'm all about accountability. Accountability, that's what I am.
Well, I think that Zeke and Dak handled it properly. Next up.